Hello, 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 hello. I'm gonna go over here for a moment. I'll see you guys in just a second. Filling up the old volcano with some Claiborne County. Smells heavenly, man. GMO is the strain. Genetically modified organism. Actually, if anybody can let me know, I might not even be I might not even be streaming right now, for all I know. I don't know. I'll have to come back and check. Hey, Philip! What's up, man? Welcome. I guess that means that I am streaming and working. Greetings, man. How are things out in the ABQ? Another volcano bag, starting off things slow. Oh, I might have done something bad. I might have misplaced. Oh, nope, it's here. Essential theme. Juan, what's up, man? Rick, what is up with you? Glad both of you could join us. Now, Philip, Albuquerque is a city that I have not heard anything about vis-a-vis the coronavirus. How bad are things there? Are they as desperate as they are other places, or do you guys have a handle on it? Living in Southern California, we started very bad, then got a very quick, very good handle on it, and then very quickly went to hell. Philip, throwing out a cops are evil. Did you have a bad run-in with the police, Philip? Not that, most run-ins with the cops are unpleasant. Even if you are a fan of the police, I think you would say that most of your encounters with police are unpleasant. I mean, that's kind of why, Rick says, when will I post the review for the Breeze spray? I actually think I should have it out tomorrow. That's the hope. It should be out tomorrow. You've now put me on the record, so that's good. Philip says everyone is a mask cop. The masks, man. Whoever would have thought so much consternation, so much animosity, and now violence is breaking out around these masks, man. People have strong feelings about mouth coverings. Which, makes sense that you would have strong feelings about in this day and age. If you have an opinion on something, it's likely that you have a strong opinion on it. We live in a society where we tend to polarize, not just politically, but our political affiliations help strengthen that polarization and wrap up all kinds of other identities in it, so you end up getting polarized on a whole bunch of issues that you normally wouldn't, just because it doesn't matter. I'm listening to Why We're Polarized right now, by Ezra Klein, so it's really on the brain. I've been listening to a shit ton of social psychology books recently, and I mostly don't like that kind of stuff. I think a lot of it's tea leaf reading, but the stuff I've been reading is not so much the theory side, but more, I don't know, more essays. Read Antisocial by the New Yorker dude. Read It Came From Something Awful, which was incredible. Yeah, just been reading a lot of things about bad people. Rick said, yay, sister-in-law was at one of the protests in Huntington Beach. What protest, Rick? Was it a mask protest, a police protest, a mask and police protest, a government overreach protest, a police overreach protest, a protest to protest, a protest protesting? There are a lot of reasons to be upset right now. No matter, everybody has a reason to be aggrieved. And a lot of people have time on their hands in which to let that disagreement foment. Hillbilly Hippie says, Wheats, my new friend, nice to see you. Welcome back, Hillbilly Hippie. Glad you could join us again. How are things out there in the GA in Georgia? I can't remember if you said where in Georgia you're from, Hillbilly. The coastal area or the sort of more backwoods sides of Georgia. 13S. What kind of good bud you took on in the volcano bag? Well, I've showed it before, but I will show it again. It is... I guess I like bragging about it. Claiborne County is the weed, or is the farm. It is GMO is the strain, in indica, presumably, and it has a crazy 36.25% THC. It is ridiculous. Very small little nugs, not big giant ones, which is fine with me. But I can't make my camera focus so you can see that better. But you can imagine that it looks very good. You can just imagine that. King Yeti says, love the brisk melon. Ooh, yes, I like a lot of the brisks. The brisk peach, the brisk Is the melon the green one or the pink one? Because I like both of those. My wife makes fun of me for drinking them because they are pretty. Those colors are. They do look a little harmful for your health. Oh, King Yeti is smoking some GMO right now. Well, your brother from across the internet. Cheers to you. We can relate. Where's yours from, King Yeti? I mean, who knows how similar our GMO strains are, but oh, yes, this one's Punch, King Yeti. You know your brisks, King Yeti. You know your brisks. So, somebody asked about the Breeze spray before. Yeah, I hope to have that review. I'm going to have that review out tomorrow. First review back. But I've done 5 of these about 45 minutes ago, which is 50 milligrams of THC. And for you guys right here, right now, let's do 2 more, because I like you. The flavored beverage, terrible idea with the mint taste. Wow. Powerful bat. Derek, what is up? And YouTube is PoopTube. Both back. Welcome, guys. I'm glad you could hang out with us this afternoon. Hillbilly hippie from the Appalachian area. And everybody has gone crazy out here in the heat. Oh boy, man. I do not miss that heat, that humidity, and those mosquitoes. I am from Appalachia myself. Lived there for like 25 years of my life. And those summers can be absolutely, positively, unbelievably brutal. I don't think people realize how fucking hot the eastern seaboard of the United States can get in the summer. And it's not just heat, it's that goddamn humidity. Ugh. Not fun. Thankfully, I grew up around a river and had easy access to water. But even still, don't miss it. And it is true. There is a correlation between heat and crime. As you're saying, like, everybody's gone crazy. Looking at if you align data of heat waves in urban areas with spikes in violent crime, you will often see those sort of two graphs overlap. There's something about heat that makes people hot-blooded. That is not true for full moons, though. So if your grandmother always said, like, oh, it's a full moon, people are going to be crazy, that's not true. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. But heat waves, especially, unseasonably hot weather, like very extreme weather for your climate, can inspire crime. Who knew? Sociology. Alan says, it is definitely that humidity. Yeah, that humidity is the worst, man. It just feels like you're walking through. When the humidity is really bad, it feels like the earth has an extra, its gravitational pull has increased like 10%. It's like there's this invisible miasma of sludge in the air, and you're just constantly fighting through it, and ugh. It's just grotesque. Humidity is like, it's one of those bizarro things where you would think it's one of those almost like counterintuitive things. It's like the more saturated the air is with water, sort of on a intuitive level or on a experiential level, that would make me think, oh, well, that should make it feel cooler because water on your skin is generally cool. And while that is true, what makes humidity so bad is it makes it much harder for your sweat to evaporate. It doesn't actually make you sweat anymore. It just makes the sweat that you have much more difficult to evaporate because the air is already that much more saturated with water, requiring that much more heat or energy to evaporate your sweat, thus making it harder to cool you down, and yada, yada, yada. So I guess then you do sweat more because you're not cooling down as much, and then vicious cycle. Get out of the South. 13 says, you've lost your southern accent. I never had one. 13, I lived in East Tennessee from the age of like 5 to like 30. And I somehow never picked up a southern accent. It's not that I didn't live around folks who did. I absolutely everybody I went to school with, I mean, 90% of the children I went to school with have a stereotypical Appalachian southern accent. So just for whatever reason, didn't stick with me. And so where are we at? Mario, welcome. Mario says, Phoenix, Arizona, we got Gorilla Glue 5 up in here. Mario, we have some other people out there from Phoenix sweating their asses off. Thanks for joining in, Mario. Rick says his father thought about moving back to Arkansas until he went back during the summer. Yeah, that would do it. Boy, Arkansas, man, a state that I don't know a lot about. Bill Clinton's from there. Walmart's headquartered there. Arkansas. Little Rock 9, Arkansas. Arkansas. The Ozarks. And I'm out. West Memphis. And I'm out. Now I'm out. I know that's everything I know about Arkansas. Walmart, Bill Clinton, Little Rock 9, Arkansas, whatever. King Yeti says he's from Houston. We go swimming in March. Houston, another. Oh man, everybody seems to be here. Here from a very, very hot, sweltering area. It's 76 out here in Long Beach right now. Not to rub it in, but to rub it in. King Yeti says their heat in Houston does not drop till October. Ugh. No. You don't. Why would you want like 8 months of the year, 9 months of the year to be sweltering? No, thank you. Looks like Hillbilly and Derek are melding minds out there and melding strains. Good for them. I have not done the Gorilla Glue. I think I've only done Gorilla Glue number 4. Maybe I've done 5. I don't know. I've done a lot of things called Gorilla Glue and a lot of things called Gorilla X or Y Glue, but not. I don't think I've done Gorilla Glue number 5. Hillbilly Hippie says he's got the southern accent for the both of us. One of my best buddies in East Tennessee, who just got his PhD in physics. Congrats, buddy. Congrats. If you're out there. I know he's not, but if he was, congrats on the PhD. You worked hard. But his like best friend growing up, and they went through my university's like teaching program together. In addition to being childhood best friends, is the guy who became the liberal redneck. If you've ever heard of the liberal redneck, like a viral YouTube star, viral media star guy, the liberal redneck, it was so weird because I had met the guy before and just out of nowhere, his shtick is he supports standard left-leaning political doctrine, but delivers the sort of, very doctrinal liberal spiel with a thick Southern accent. So there's some incongruity there because rednecks aren't traditionally thought of as very West Coast or East Coast coastal liberal elite something. I am very high. I'm gonna have to go get a refill. Oxtail McHale, welcome Oxtail, says, imagine only having 8 months of the year hot as fuck. Here in Florida, it's hot all year and he hates it. Oxtail, I am sorry to hear that, my friend. That does sound terrible. Also, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We have quite a few fans out there in Florida as they are getting their weed shit together. And they are all... I know people who like living in Florida, but I've never met somebody who lives in Florida who doesn't bitch about living in Florida. They may love it. They may say, hey, Florida is the best state in the union, but, and then they say, but goddamn, and it's like, oh, yeah. But that's true for anybody. That's, complaining builds camaraderie. Communal grievances. Everybody has a state that sucks. Unless you live in Mississippi, then you don't have a state that sucks. You have a state that sucks you. Joey says, and welcome Joey, is the humidity bad in Long Beach? I live in Charleston, South Carolina, very near the beach. It is miserable here due to the humidity. Charleston, I used to go to the Isle of Palms, and that's Charleston, South Carolina, like in college for like Memorial Day and shit. It was great. It's a beautiful area, but the humidity is not bad here at all. Not in the slightest. I don't know if I've experienced a muggy day. It's, there's just no humidity. It's Mediterranean climate, baby. Mediterranean. Darren says, and welcome Darren, says, the end of the world, what is it that you see that's happening to say the world is coming to an end? Very good question, and Darren, and thank you for calling me out on my sort of maybe hyperbolic sky is falling kind of title, but we'll get to it. Excuse me, I'm gonna go refill this, and then we'll get to your question there. There's a dog right here, guys. I forgot. He just came up. Hey, buddy. Hey. Let's have him do a trick for you. See, and then it's like a meta trick because I'm doing tricks for you there. Sit. Take it. Very impressive trick. Oh, here's another one. Oh shit, look. Sit. Speak. Speak. Speak louder. I know you can do more. Speak. Speak. What are you doing? Speak. Oh, okay. Take it. Sorry about the dog in her look. Oh, fuck. Sorry, there's one more. Come here. This one's a little bit taller. Come here. Sit. Sit. Take it. Get on my side. Sorry about the dogs. Okay, Darren, why is the world coming to an end? I'm just aping the doomsday clock people, the people that do the doomsday clock that they update at the first of every year, and we're like 2 minutes to midnight right now, and that's why. Just because we're 2 minutes to midnight on the totally randomly, arbitrarily. The total arbitrary metric that is the doomsday clock, which is a device created by some scientists using some rubric to determine how close we are to the end of the world that we don't really know. But That's what I'm going to go with. Okay. Oxtail McHale. That is such a good name. I love saying it. What is that bag? I feel uncultured. Do not feel uncultured, Oxtail McHale. Please allow me to keep saying that. It is a volcano bag. That's just what I went and blew up back there. Sorry, I'm behind in chat. It is vapor from bud, from actual weed plant. And the volcano, it's that sort of cylindrical volcano-looking thing, believe it or not. Just has a big, giant heating coil and a fan, blows hot air up on this little oven, a little tiny heating chamber where the weed is, blows that hot air up into this big bag, and then you got the vapor weed all ready to go. All right. Grovel is here. Welcome, Grovel. Glad you could join us again, man. King Yeti says, yeah, Mississippi is a shithole. I love it there. Interesting sentiment, King Yeti. Darren says, so is this just going to be getting stoned? That is the end. That is the world coming to an end. No, Darren, myself getting stoned is not the world coming to an end. Me getting stoned is a response to the world coming to an end. It is, it's what it's what those shrinks would call a coping mechanism. John 37 says, I just smoked an edible. John 37, you're on a different level of you are higher than I am, even if you've smoked an edible. Not even I have ever managed to do that, and I have smoked a lot of weed and eaten a lot of edibles, but never have the twain meeting for me. Derek says, do they still sell flavored Juul pods where you are at? I don't know, Derek. I'm not a vape user myself, but I would guess not. I don't know. I mean, I know there was going to be a ban on all of them, on all flavored nicotine pods or nicotine vaping things. But then I think that ban was ultimately rescinded because that vape lobby is pretty powerful, and it's strange how it is kind of remarkable how close the vaping population overlaps with Donald Trump's voters. Like, those two populations are very closely integrated to a surprising degree. So you can see why Donald Trump may have wanted to pull back on that flavored nicotine ban. But I don't know if that happened or it didn't happen. I don't know. But is Juul still I guess now that teens aren't in high school, are they smoking Juuls more or less? I'd be curious. If you're a teen in Manhattan or anywhere without school, and that's pretty, rigidly still socially quarantined, socially distanced, everybody is, not really congregating. I wonder if vaping has gone up or down for those teens. Up, the theory for up would be more free time. You've got a lot of free time, so why not do some vaping? But I think my guess, though, would be the opposite, is that there has been less nicotine vaping, and my hypothesis for why would be less access. I'm guessing most people who get like Juuls get them from a friend who has a very easy source, like a brother, sister, or a friend who's 20 or something, that can go and buy them in bulk for all that person's friends, his or her friends. That would be my guess, but I don't know. I would be very curious. I would also be curious to see how sticky the vaping habit already is with teenagers. For those that are, for those that were vaping very heavily and getting, buying vapes or borrowing vapes from friends or schoolmates, classmates or whatever, if they have found a way to continue their habit, or if the social distancing was enough of a disruption that it broke the habit for them. I'd be really curious to know. I don't know. I'm sorry, that's just that was boring. Oxtail says, every time I consume THC, I feel like time keeps looping and I forget everything 10 seconds and my synesthesia gets really intensified. And I feel like I'm tripping on acid. First comment, and we'll go back to it. Your synesthete, that's so cool. What kind of way does your synesthesia present itself, Oxtail? Are you like you hear colors? Do you have like the number color thing? Do you have music, visuals? How does your synesthesia present itself? I know so many people have different ways in which synesthesia manifests itself in them, which is really cool that it's not just like a single thing. It can be so many different things. But also, I know exactly what you're talking about, the time looping thing. That happened to me literally only the first time I smoked weed. Only once ever smoking weed did I have that feeling. It is a crazy feeling. I found it quite pleasant. Well, pleasant might be the wrong choice of words. I thought it was quite exhilarating, I guess, or it wasn't at all frightening or anxious, anxiety-inducing in me. Not in the slightest. It was. I thought it was. I was kind of entranced by it. But again, it's only happened that one time for me. I could see why it happening recurrently would be pretty bad or pretty awful, because it's once you're in that state, that's the state that you're in. It's not something. It's pretty hard to come back to coherence after you've entered that state. But yeah, the very first time I smoked weed, I've told this story so many times, I'll tell it briefly here again. It was after California actually voted down legalization back in 2012, I think it was, or 2011. The first time it came up for recreational, and I said to myself, like, oh, that's it, okay, because I never had anything against weed, I just had never tried it. But I was like, oh, I'll just wait for it to become legal. It seems like it's going to be, it's inevitable at this point. I'll just be a good little boy. So I just assumed that California was going to make it legal in their first vote, and it didn't. And at that point, I was like, fuck it. It's going to be illegal for forever. Might as well just do it now. So did it, had a friend, got some weed. I did like 3 sessions with them. First 2 times didn't feel a thing. Nobody believed me. I was like, no, nothing. Third time went out, started passing around the octopus pipe, I remember, and pretty quickly it was 0 to 60 in terms of being high. And again, the only time I've ever had that time dilation sense. Very strange feeling. I've done acid 3, 4 times, 3 or 4 times. It to me has never made me trip in any real way. I've done a lot of it, trying to get in a state where other people were. It certainly no audio visual hallucinations of any kind, barely any even distortions of any kind, certainly no ego death or ego expansion or nothing like that. The one thing it was a vague sense of well-being, like a very mild euphoria, and then the expanded mind part, not trippy out of my body or I am in stardust kind of, that kind of stuff, but I'm always I'm a systems guy. I love systems. I just like understanding how things work, and and when on acid, I would just start, I don't know, reading old board game rule books and stuff, and just exploring game rule systems, or I'd start watching, I don't know, what's the math YouTube channel that's really big, and just start watching math YouTube videos and shit. I really enjoyed acid, but for some reason the hallucinogenics, I just am very unsure of whether or not I can actually quote unquote trip. I'd love to be able to, but every time it's mind expanding, and it just makes me way more curious than I already am, which is wonderful, and I love that. But that's about it. Sorry, that was a very long answer. Billary, welcome back. Billary says, the real cool teens smoke cigs. Don't you know it, Billary? No self-respecting teenager is going to get caught with a Juul. All the cool kids smoke Winstons. I know what you're saying. Hey, back in my day, if you were cool, you smoked Camels. Well, one, that dates you. And two, all the cool kids really knew that you smoked Marlboros, and that only the posers smoked Camels, and the girls smoked Virginia Slims. Point being, don't smoke when you're a teenager. It's bad. Maybe just don't smoke tobacco at all. But if you do, make it a Joe Camel. Joe Camel. The name, the first name in cool. Wavelength, welcome Wavelength, says would love to see some new reviews soon. Wavelength, I have promised that I will have our review out for the Breeze Extra Fresh Royal Mint Spray tomorrow. 100 milligrams of this was reviewed. Another 400 milligrams or so has been done over the past 3 live streams here. I guess I probably owe you guys another. Let's just do 1 spray for now, because that's all you guys have earned. If you wanna donate $1 to the charity of your choice and message put a screenshot up, put up a link to a screenshot in chat, I will take one for every $1 you donate to the charity of your choice. Whoops. Ugh. No, political PACs don't count as charities. Fuck you, Supreme Court. 501c3 my nuts. Any other charity's fine, though. No religious organizations. Any other charity is fine though. King Yeti says, I do not support Trump, by the way. I hope nobody was accusing you, King Yeti. I hope no one was accusing you. Luis or Luis. I'm sorry if I'm saying that whichever way I'm saying that incorrectly. He says, parents need to just pay attention to the kids rather than being on Facebook all day. If only, Luis, right? Like, that's asking a lot, though. That group of that shares funny memes that you read on Reddit 5 years ago, but now shares them on some old lady Facebook group. That demands so much more attention than their children. You have no idea. How dare you? I mean, have you seen this funny picture of a cat? Derek says, now we have to pass a joint like a football. 6 feet. Well, that would still defeat the purpose, having been in one's mouth. Even the 6 feet at that point, not going to do a whole lot to shield you. Those germs are still coming in. Wavelength says, yeah, I can't support Trump either. Good for you. Support who you... just support whoever you think is a decent human being. Hillbilly Hippie says, I'm sure weed use went up in that age group. I would assume that it did as well. Probably a lot of kids getting in their parents' weed stash, which is a thing now. Isn't that so great that there's no longer like the liquor cabinet that your kids will break into. There's also like your stash somewhere that your kids are gonna break into and like either throw away 2 quick gummies or like take 3 hits on the little vape cartridge that you've got and try to put it back in the box before anybody notices. Sadly, you can't fill the vape cartridge back up with water like you could the vodka. I don't know how they're gonna do teen comedies anymore now. Oxtail says, I have the number color thing. Oh, sorry, we are so far behind. That is totally my fault in regards to synesthesia. I can taste words. I can see sounds. Letters also have colors, and I can taste sounds as well. The part that gets intensified with weed is seeing sound. It really fucks me up because it's my weakest form of synesthesia, and it scares the shit out of me. I can see why that would be very intense. Everything you listed there sounds utterly mind-boggling to me, and it's qualia. It's a thing that like you can type that out, and you can sort of describe it in metaphor, and I can sort of interpret that, but I have no idea what you actually. I can't. Just like I can't know if your blue is my blue, I also can't. I have no. I can't truly understand what that means to taste words or to see sounds. I would love to. I mean, I have an idea in my mind, but I'm certain it's nothing like what you actually experience. What a cool ability, even though, as you say, it does have its downsides, like getting the shit scared of you when you're high, and is seeing sound. That's the scary one for you. Sorry, lost train there. Derek says, I'm the only one that didn't get stoned the very first time I smoked. Second time I did, weird, or anyone else have the same thing? I'm just curious. Derek, I'd love to hear other people's experience. I know for sure I've heard many people say that they did not get high the first first time, second time, or even third time they tried. It wasn't until, fourth or fifth time. Either they did it wrong, or they were too nervous, or they misunderstood what was happening. They read being high as like their excitement. It's a common thing, I think. But I'd love to hear others' experience. Jason, welcome back. Jason says, hell yeah, dude. I was hoping I'd see you on today. You got some Venom OG going. Hope you enjoy that, man. Thanks for joining in, Jason. King Yeti says he has a theory about not getting high the first time. And it is, he expounds, if you were never exposed to it as a child, you won't get high. But if it's been smoked in the same room numerous times, the first time you smoke, you get wrecked. I'd love to see a survey if anybody else has had similar experiences. I certainly had no experience growing up around weed. It wasn't until I got to college that I had any experience, and I didn't do it myself, but I had roommates that smoked and friends that smoked and shit. So I was around it sometimes, but yeah, I certainly did not grow up around weed. Where I grew up, weed was not the drug of choice. It was barbiturates, I think, or other anti-anxiety medications. A lot of pills. Pretty sad. Oxtail says, every single time I initially get high, I end up somewhere and completely confused and forget my name. Like the feeling of falling asleep and not knowing the cutoff between being conscious and unconscious. Hypnagogic, I believe, is that state. Is that right? Hypnagogic? Maybe? Is that in between time? That sounds really quite, yeah, as you said, terrifying. Having a momentary sense of amnesia sounds pretty terrible. I can't even imagine what it would feel like to forget who I am momentarily, and why I am where I am. A fun thing everybody likes to talk about on the internet is sleep paralysis. Hey, buddy, what do you need? Do you need something? What? Sorry, dog. Sleep paralysis, which I've had only once in my life. It's just like crazy and terrible as everyone says it is. I'm a terrible sleeper under normal circumstances, under ideal circumstances. I'm a bad sleeper. Other times I'm just abysmal at sleeping, very bad at falling asleep, staying asleep. One particularly bad stretch, it just happened like the exact same way everybody describes. I felt like I had awoken. I opened my eyes and I could look around, but I felt 100% paralyzed. Could not move anything other than my eyes. And then, just like everybody describes, you feel some kind of sense that there is something in the room that means to do you great bodily harm. Now, understand, I even while it was happening, I knew I was being irrational. I knew at the time, there was some part of my brain, even at the moment, that's like, oh, dude, you are having this sleep paralysis that you have read all about. This isn't happening. You know these things. You know this is your brain playing some kind of dirty frontal cortex delusion on you. You know, there's nothing to be afraid of. Even recognizing that, it's like, oh, there is a demon, a thing that I do not believe and factually know could not exist, is about to eat me from the toes up. And it's just a bizarre sensation. And it's so wild that your brain can do that to you. That your brain can simultaneously, you can hold that view in your mind like, oh, yes, I know for sure that this is just a dream state that I'm in, and nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. And yet also be so completely terrified and convinced that your death is imminent. It doesn't make sense. I guess it's also why we bungee jump and shit. Like, I don't know. But it's a weird feeling. If you've never had sleep paralysis, I hope to never experience it again. That's for sure. And I'm sorry if you have. Boy, sorry, I need to catch up here. Derek says mescaline was his favorite trip of all time. I don't know if I've even known anybody who's done mescaline before. But I don't even know where to... I'm actually not even 100% sure I know what kind of experience mescaline gives you. Hillbilly Hippie says, what's your take on mushrooms for PTSD? Any opinion? Hillbilly Hippie, I am as pro, consider me a convert, a total believer. Not that I've experienced that, not that I've used, had mushrooms help alleviate PTSD symptoms myself, but I've seen all of those same studies that everybody refers to, and last year I read Michael Pollan's new book, How to Change Your Mind, which is all about using psychedelics for psychiatric well-being, not just for, and he makes this important distinction, or he interviews a lot of people that make this important distinction, that psychedelics should not only just not, they shouldn't be constricted to just purely therapeutic use to alleviate symptoms of psychiatric or mental health symptoms that people are already experiencing, but that they should be used in your whole sort of wellness regimen, like that the experiences that people can have on different psychedelics can be so profound and so for example, one of the studies that is so often referred to and is so important here is like when people in a controlled lab setting were given hallucinogenics for I forget what specific psychiatric symptoms they were testing for, but in this study they were using it to see if it would help alleviate some kind of psychiatric symptoms, whether it was depression or anxiety or fears of mortality even. It was a longitudinal study, so they kept going back to these people years later and asking about their experiences years after the fact. And 5 years after the study had ended, something like 90% of the participants still said that their experience on psilocybin, which I believe was the study, I don't know if this one was acid or psilocybin, so I won't say which, but that 9 out of the 10 of them still said it was one of the most profound experiences of their lives, which is utterly, it's just wild. The thing that Michael Pollan makes the argument that I think is most convincing, and just one of the most touching stories I've read in a long time, was about how hallucinogenics are this brand new class of medicine that we we've never even had a category before that can help people approach life's most essential existential crises, like one's mortality. Like he brings up these examples of patients who have terminal illnesses, whether it be cancer or something else I can't think off the top of my head, where they were given hallucinogenics to help them deal with the depression and anxiety that comes from knowing that you are going to die imminently, and the results of those studies, and how the self-reported feelings of well-being from the people who participated in that study, and their attitudes towards their own deaths had shifted just, dramatically, in unbelievably dynamic ways, like from being paralyzed by the thought that they are going to die to being ready to go call all 5 of their children, tell them they're going to die, and get the will started and start saying goodbye the very next day, kind of thing. And he makes the point that, like, we as a society, we don't like thinking about, we don't like talking about death. We sort of put death off to the side. We try to hide death as much as possible, which is awful and toxic for everybody involved, and how we should, as a culture, start using psychedelic drugs to help us have more healthy attitudes towards mortality. And it's a fantastic argument. There's this wonderful story about a husband and wife who'd been married for years, and the husband coming to grips with his mortality while being exposed to psychedelics. He uses that as sort of a framework for the whole issue, and it's fantastic. The book is called How to Change Your Mind, Michael Pollan. Sorry, that was a very long endorsement. So, yes, to answer your question, Hillbilly Hippie, I would say that I'm very pro mushrooms for PTSD. I'm very behind on chat, and I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to catch up. Gamer Boy, hello. Stephanie, hello. Thanks for joining us. Glad you're back, Stephanie. Glad you've joined us, Gamer Boy. So 13 says, go ahead and eat those new gummies you bought. I wish I wanted to survive. Abdullah Mr. Go For It. Welcome, Mr. Go For It. Says, strong weed isn't for everybody. Boy, is that true. I'm proving that right now by failing miserably. You know what? I will do a penance dab. A penance dab. 2 bags down. And a penance dab. Derek says, weed helps him sleep great. Derek, that is true for me too. That's actually why I really started smoking weed. To begin with, is it helped me sleep like a baboo. John Ref, welcome John, says, you've been smoking on any more of the old POW stuff? Not recently, John. I have had it since I've reviewed it. Still think it's pretty good. Still really good value. However, since then, weed prices have come down even more, and not even insubstantially so. So their price advantage has been reduced somewhat. But I still think they're a good value. Dallas Confidential says, nah, them demons will eat you. Referring to the sleep paralysis demon, I'm guessing. Dallas Confidential. Is Dallas your name, or is Dallas your geographical bearing, or your geographical reference? Or is it, are you just a big fan of 80s TV? But that would also be like the like the city. But maybe your name is just Dallas. Dallas, Austin, and Houston. Why is there no San Antonio? That's what I'd name my daughter, is San Antonio. Or What's another Texas city? Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Fort Worth? No. What's the one on the very south? The one on like the border with Mexico. I'm sorry for my Texas geography. Shameful. Kick me out of that Lone Star State, boys. King Yeti says, I know for a fact that demons do exist. I'm curious how you know factually, King Yeti. Have you had any experiences with demons yourselves? Dallas says, still hitting carts or nah? It's been a while since I've seen your channel. Broccoli emoji? Yes, enjoying the icon system right now. Little Skywalker in there. Icon pod system, reviewing it as we speak. Dab, penance dab. That's what I keep forgetting to do. I'm just gonna... Okay. Looks like I'm mostly caught up on chat. Good for me. Oh, that's your area and also your Instagram. This dog is very confused. That dog doesn't give a shit. He's been summoned. So, this is some stuff. It's wax. It's good. It has it has THC in it. In quantities that are great. And that's all I have to say about it. Penance dab. Cheers. I almost lost it, but I held strong. Don't look at me like that, frog. My dog is side-eyeing me over here. This is bullshit. Your ears, girl. You're crazy. Oh, shit. No, I'm good. I thought I had fucked something up. Grovel says, getting Paper Mario next week. Grovel, I'm definitely going to wait for the reviews on that one. Paper Mario games are hit or miss, dog. Some are great. Some are genuinely bad. Like the 3DS one was terrible, sticker or something. And the original Wii one wasn't very good. This one seems like it might be better, but I don't know. I hope so. I hope it's good. So, Grovel, the game that I have been wasting too many hours of my life on it's unhealthy at this point, is the Steam Early Access, seems to be a hit, game Hard Space Shipbreaker. It's a terrible title. I'll just call it Shipbreaking in Space. It is a new early access thing where you deconstruct in outer space giant spaceships using a variety of sci-fi tools like laser cutters and melty beams, and of course, most fun, grapples, big tethers, like you can like tether things together and make them go. And it also has like you have to deal with pressurized cabins. So if you sort of punch a hole into a pressurized cabin from an area that is unpressurized, you get some really cool blowouts. It has this really dynamic physics engine, and shit explodes real good. And then your ship that you're sort of diligently taking apart piece by piece to sell in every perfect little combination gets exploded real good. Of course, a depressurization incident is nothing compared to rupturing a fuel line and blowing up something that way, maybe blowing up one of the ship's thrusters. And of course, even that pales in comparison to the sort of large overall goal of each ship that you disassemble piece by piece is to extract the nuclear reactor from it. Each ship has its own nuclear core. And of course, the second you start to jostle this thing, it starts to melt down, and you have to get it out and into its little recycling area very quickly. And if you don't, that core melts down, and I don't know if there's a PC. Like, I have a decent PC. It's not the best. I mean, I'm not running no 2080 or nothing, but when the core melts down, all of my PCs that I have tried it on basically run at about 5 frames a second, because it's just so incredible. So many little pieces, so many little splinters of a ship. I assume your body. Maybe you just get liquefied. I don't know, but it's great. Check it out. That is Hard Space Shipbreaker. John, New Jersey says, is there a strain or an edible you are dying to try but can't get? Great question, John, and the answer is yes. There's one example I can think of for sure. I don't know if they still have it or not. Maybe I should hit them up on Twitter. Korova. Good old Korova. Been around from the very beginning. Korova, makers of baked good edibles. And they used to have the legendary Black Bar, which was 1,000 milligram brownie. It was sort of the Mount Everest of weed in Southern California. However, with the law that changed 3 years ago or whatever now, that limit has been reduced to 100. But in Arizona, I believe, at least as recently as like 6 months ago, they still had, Arizona's only medical, but they still sold the Black Bar in Arizona. And not only that, they sold the double Black Bar, a 2,000 milligram brownie, that I would have loved to have attempted on stream at one point, but was never able to find a way to secure one, having not living in Arizona, nor having a medical weed license there. Made it a little tricky. But if you know anybody at Korova, I mean, technically I think they follow me on Twitter, maybe, but not that, I mean, that sounded so, like, ooh la la. It's not at all. It's But I assume they wouldn't read anything for me. But if you know anybody at Corova, I would be very happy to pay for one of those to try and review it, or just to do it and fail as a fun lark. So that's my answer, is the double black bar from Corova. Silky Johnson, the playa hater, hashtag fuck success, says, Wheats Reviews, always trust your edible reviews. Big fan, live in Long Beach, and looking for a new dispensary that has good value for edibles. Well, thanks, Silky Johnson, the player hater, hashtag fuck success. What a wonderful name, BT Dubs. Fellow brother from Long Beach. I will tell you, Connected in Belmont Shore, or even the Connected in Cherry, on Cherry Street, have very good prices on edibles. You can look at their menu. You can just Google Connected Long Beach, Connected. I think the URL is connected-socal.com. I've been there enough to know. But they usually have very fair prices on edibles. And even better, if you go in the store and look around, they usually have a lot of good specials, promos, like buy this, get that. So check them out if you've never been before. I'm sure they also have some kind of first-time patient thingamajig. And there are two of them, Belmont Shore and Cherry Street, but like way north. And not only that, but Silky Johnson, the player hater, hashtag fuck success, was the 100th message. And also, hashtag fuck success. What a wonderful message. I love that, Silky Johnson. Hashtag fuck success. Yes, who's to say what success is? So, hashtag fuck it. Carlos, welcome. Is this Carlos? Even if you're not Carlos, welcome. But if you're Carlos, welcome, man. It's been a long time. So glad you've found me and joined in. Hope you are doing well. If you are Carlos on the other side of... Wait, no, you are now on... You're living in Portugal? But maybe you're not Carlos. But even if you're not Carlos, if you're just Carlos... Hey, thanks for joining us. Grovel says, I've been wasting my time on West of Dead. I've heard a lot of great things about West of Dead. Haven't tried it myself. But it looks pretty interesting. It also looks a little tough. And I'm not very smart. Unless I'm thinking the wrong game. Aiden Jordan says, love the vids, man. Keep up the great work. Well, thanks, Aiden. I appreciate you saying that, man. Thanks for joining us. King Yeti has seen Demon Stone Cold Sober, and he's also seen Fire Sprites, Lil Evil Fucks. That sounds really wild, dude. Where have you encountered said demons before? I can tell you the only demons I've ever faced are the ones in here. And those demons, well, they never lose. Just kidding. I've never faced those demons. I dare not. Wow, I did it. I got all caught up on chat. So, I will go refill this volcano, and I will do one spray. Just one. Not gonna be overzealous here. Don't get greedy. Nobody's donated $1 to charity yet, so no additional. Ugh. I got that, like, on the tonsil. Oh. I should just spray it on my tongue. It can't be worse than, like, a chemical burn on the back of your throat. But, okay. Woo. Wow. Dog, you're still staring at me. Unbelievable. Do you see that shit? Unreal. Oh, that dog's getting old. She is about 8. I think I've said that many times because it's very sad. Derek says, the spray is awesome. I am quite enjoying it. Derek, not to spoil my review, which is coming out tomorrow. I am now on the hook. Aiden says, you inspired me to get my medical card, and it has been the best medication for my anxiety. The reviews helped a lot. Aiden, I'm really glad to hear that, man. Thank you so much for saying that, and I'm very glad to see that your anxiety has been helped with weed, and that you didn't have to get some kind of I can't remember what the anti-anxiety medications are called. Barbiturates? No. Some class. Silky Johnson, the player hater, hashtag fuck success, says, appreciate it, bro. Checked out the connected menu. How are those punch bar edibles? How many does it take to get faded for a seasoned vet? Silky Johnson. Punch bars are really good. They're only 90 milligrams instead of 100 for some reason. Back in the day when they used to be 190 instead of 200, it was weird then too. Their gummies are also 90, but they hit at a much higher, they punch, if you will, at a higher weight class. And for the value, they're great. I don't know your exact, I can't speak to your exact tolerance, Silky Johnson, but if 100 milligram edible normally gets you quite high, 90 milligrams of punch bar will do the trick. I'd be pretty sure. You can take that to the bank. I think they also now have gummies. Punch bar does too. Those I know less about, but the 90 milligram edibles should be good. Certainly should be worth the money. And again, you probably have like a first time patient thing. Oh, benzos. That's right. Thank you guys. Those are benzodiazepines. Benzos. Dangerous. Dangerous drugs. And addictive, I think. Thankfully, never had done any for any reason, recreational or otherwise. Thank God. Hit Tomb. Hi Tomb says, very dangerous. I had a history with them. Very addictive. Ooh, I am sorry to hear that, Hi Tomb. I'm glad it seems that you no longer are using them. Hopefully you no longer have to hopefully you no longer crave those sons of bitches, because they can be pernicious. I'm not saying that there are no use cases for things like that. That's absolutely not true. There absolutely are people who are greatly helped by those things, but they are also dangerous and can be prone to misuse very easily. But John says he used weed to get off Xanax. I've heard the same thing. I've heard people say that same thing. As a matter of fact, I've had people ask me before, like, what strains they would recommend for getting off Xanax. And unfortunately, I didn't have the best answer for that particular question, but that's great that people are using it that way. That is it's such a superior, harm reduction kind of idea. But if we could just get everybody in the country to believe that, I think we'd be all a little bit better off. But yes, man, anti-anxiety medications, they are no joke. I've never, I don't, so I think it just makes you like kind of mildly euphoric is what they're supposed to do, right? Are they muscle relaxers? Is that what they are? I can't ever remember one class of anti-anxiety is like just a muscle relaxer, and the other one is more, you know, I don't know, dopamine, serotonin changing. I don't know. But I think luckily, man, I do not have a super addictive personality. I know that seems ironic, smoking a lot of weed, but and I would say that I am likely addicted to weed, but in most other circumstances, I don't get addicted to things very easily, or can quit things usually without too much trouble. But maybe that means that I can't, because I was thinking, oh, I can quit, you know, soda or whatever pretty frequently, but if I go back to it at some point, then did I ever really quit it? Dun dun dun. Rahul, welcome, man. Thanks for joining us. Hi Tomb, Hit Tomb, Hi Tomb. Let me know if I'm saying that right. It says he actually liked the combination of the two, but has still weaned himself off of the benzos, which good for you, man. I'm glad that has worked out. Afro Samurai says, I had some sour garlic cookies. I just woke up and smoked like 5 hours ago. Great indica. Actually, somebody earlier in the stream, Afro Samurai, I think, said that they had some sour garlic cookies. And that was a new strain. It's weird that you mention it because I had never heard it until then, and now I've heard it twice. Oh, thanks, Billery. I really appreciate that. And congrats on your amalgaming of people, Bill and Hillary. What a wonderful chimera that would be. Speaking of, go see Color Out of Space. I think I talked about it last stream. The adaptation of the H.P. Lovecraft short story novella thingamabob with Nick Cage. It is Psycho Banano Holy Jeezo John Carpenter, you ain't seen nothing yet thing. And it will help make you understand why I made a chimera reference. So, there you go. You've got your homework. Watch Color Out of Space. You should watch it anyways. It's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it goes there, and I usually give movies credit for going there. As long as going there isn't bordering on nihilism, but that's subjective. Anyways, and with that, I think no. You know what? I'm gonna do my volcano bag. That's what I promised. So this is the third of three refills. Wonderful. Aiden says, what would you say your favorite indica is for sleep? Whatever has the highest THC percentage I can find would be my answer, Aiden. I don't have a particular strain I go for sleep. I know a lot of people usually go for the strong indicas, like the OGs, the diesels, that kind of stuff. For me, it's just, I go for the THC. The highest I can, the higher the better. No pun intended. I'm not coughing as much as I thought I would. Good for me. Okay. I'd love to set up a way to do call-ins or something of that nature. It'd be great to actually get to talk to some people instead of just having to responding to you guys on chat in my slow, undeliberative way. It'd be cool to set up some kind of way if anybody ever wanted to call in and shoot the shizzle to set that up. It shouldn't be too difficult to make that happen. I guess I would use Discord as maybe the method of doing so. So yeah, I might work on doing that. Aiden, I think it would. I don't actually have the Discord server set up just yet for Weeds, but I will work on that in addition to maybe getting this call-in set up going. Because yeah, it'd be fun to chat over the old interwebs. I like interviewing people. I do. I used to do it semi-professionally. So it's fun. It's fun. Very much looking forward to that. Holy crap. John, that is an excellent idea. I am going to start looking into how to make that happen. And I'm pretty excited about that. I probably will not be streaming tomorrow. I don't know for sure. Maybe. I'm going to be streaming semi-regularly, so I need to start posting ahead of time when I'm going to be streaming. So do pay attention to social media. I may get good about that again. I used to be somewhat good about it. I might get good again. I need to. I should. Maybe. And I'll also post updates about what Discord and shit there, too. I can also do that on YouTube. But by tomorrow, I will have a review out for a new review, finally, after so long. And I'm excited about that. And I'm gonna finish out this bag. And then I'm gonna say goodbye because voice is still getting used to this, although it's getting better. It's not as hoarse as it was these past 2 days. I don't know how people do this for 5 hours at a stretch. They're heroes. I am not. I am, however, going to take off. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. See you guys soon.